Alderman Weigel.
Here.
Mike Suter.
Here.
Alderperson Keen.
Here.
Wayne Clark.
Yes.
Jerry Motter.
Here.
Richard Badger, you don't have, I think he's excused, and John Nehm's excused.
Okay, well, we have a forum. Okay, first item on the agenda is approval of the minutes of the March 5th meeting. Is there any additions, corrections? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Minutes stand approved. Item 2, annual election of chair and vice chairman, chairperson.
I have a note on our calendar that every year at this time we read to the officers of the CDA.
I would make a motion if you two gentlemen are still willing to be our chair and vice chair, that's what we stick with.
I accept. Wayne accepts. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. I'm gonna go to item number 3.
We have to vote for
Yeah.
that.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
It's a dictatorship.
Do we have a roll call vote for that?
Alderman Weigel.
Aye.
Mike Suter.
Aye.
Alderperson Keen.
Aye.
Wayne Clark.
Aye.
Jerry Motter.
Aye,
Motion passes.
thank you. Item number 2, item 3, discussion of proposed redevelopment of F Street at 92nd and Greenfield Avenue. Patrick?
Mr. Chairman, in the past few months, we've been talking with a representative of F Street, which is a development company in the Milwaukee area, about the Cardinal Capital site at 92nd and Greenfield, the former St. Al's. I'd like to invite Nick Young up here tonight to discuss their interest in developing the site, and I don't know if you want EJ to come up with you too. We can pull up a chair. Come on up and have a seat and talk a little bit about F Street and your interest in West Allis.
Perfect, yeah, no, thanks everyone for having us. So I'm Nick Young, I'm Director of Development.
EJ Hare, Director of Project Delivery.
So obviously we've been working with Patrick and are excited about the site. We've been working with the current seller or owner on the site to acquire it and finally have it in a position where we can acquire the site. Our plan, so we're based in downtown Milwaukee. We've done approximately 1,500 units of ground up apartments mostly throughout Wisconsin, greater Milwaukee County, up to Sheboygan County, and southern counties as well, and southeast. Really excited about this project. So as one of these infill projects, we've done similar projects in Oak Creek and Brown Deer. Here we're really looking at it as a demolition, redevelopment, starting on likely a 1 or 2 phase development of kind of blending into the neighborhood. As you can see on the south side of it, those are actually 2-story buildings. We call them stacked flats. So it's more of a community feel. Everybody has their own entrance. We're seeing really residents love these type of units because it's really their own feel, their own personal garage on approximately 30 to 40% of the units as well. And then going to the greenfield side, activating the greenfield with a 4-story apartment building. That one would be approximately 90 units. The garden style, as you can see here, would be around between 50 to 54 units. You see the garden style, we look at like more a modern approach. We've engaged Rinka as our architect. So you can see those are the 2 northern ones are currently under construction. The one on the south is another developer's scale that you've seen out in Oconomowoc. So really those natural feels and blending into the neighborhoods with scales up to greenfield specifically. And then the mid-rise apartments, really modern feel, a mix of junior 1-bedrooms, 1-bedrooms, 2-bedrooms, and a few 3-bedrooms as well. So happy to kind of like talk through it, talk through the timeline. I don't know if you want to meet. We have a little bit of a quick timeline to purchase it, just based on sellers' expectations, and what the CDA has done with the note on theirs as well. We'd be closing on tax day, so April 15th. The goal would be, we've talked through how we're going to phase it, so we're very preliminary. We've, of course, only had this for around 45 days now. Started to engage our architects, get plans ready. Once we purchase the property, the CDA purchased the property, and we have our agreement to purchase it back, we would start those plans, go through plan commission, common council. Whether we're doing 1 or 2 phases, it's kind of naturally phased anyways, because it's 3 different buildings, the south side and north side. After demolition of the building, which would start this summer, we'd break ground either in late 2025 or early 2026, depending on the phasing. If we did phase it, likely it'd be the garden style going first, with the mid-rise going second, to build up to greenfield. And delivery time, the garden style units is approximately between 10 and 12 months, and the mid-rise is 12 to 13 months from when they start.
A good plan.
One of the big ones, the demolition costs. So right now we're acquiring the property for $860,000 from the current owner. The demolition costs, we currently have 4 proposals. EJ's works on all of our construction projects, and we have great relationships with a lot of these groups. Little bit higher than we anticipated, but this is kind of where they're at today as what we've got from estimates to demolish those buildings.
So that also includes the cost of abatement, so there's hazardous materials that are existing, obviously, in the buildings that have to get, remediated, so that's also included in those numbers.
Yeah, and also clears up some of the issues of the chimney sweeps that's been resolved already. So obviously we've started to move very quickly and hope to continue to do so.
Mr. Chair,
Okay, yeah.
can you go back to the, where it shows like the, yes. So the garden style homes are going to be, I can't see from here, what's 92nd Street?
On the top.
Is the
On
top,
the
On the
right
right,
side.
on the right-hand
Okay,
side.
Greenfield's up at that.
so the garden homes would be,
The 2 lower buildings
gotcha,
along 93rd and 92nd.
93rd, 92nd, okay. And then where's the senior,
It's the building on the right-hand side.
that's what I thought, great, okay,
Correct. So it'd be built around it.
yep, okay.
So the property line, you can kind of see
Gotcha.
dashed right here, yeah.
And that little back part keeps that little parking lot, garage that they have right there, right? That's. what it
Yes,
is
that's
too.
part of the
Correct.
property, yeah.
I think the garden style homes are a great concept. I think people really like them. Just being an alder from that district, clearly I'm not on planning commission, but I would like to see, I like how the garden style homes look homey.
Mhm.
And I would hope, like kind of the same thing for the apartment, like I get modern, but kind of where it's a very residential neighborhood, right? So while you guys are planning it out, just again for, and I've talked with Alderwoman Grisham, the other Alderwoman of the district, and, kind of staying with that theme of making it, whether it's like wood or siding, just not all concrete,
Sure, understood.
would
Yeah.
kind of just be ideal, because again, that way it's just a little bit more aesthetic to all the homes that are around it.
It's a more like natural tone.
Yeah,
Yeah, and we'll work with Rinka, obviously, on plans. These are just general concepts, but appreciate the
Right,
feedback.
I'm excited, thanks.
Mr. Clark has a floor.
Go up 2 more slides and back or forward or some way. Get to the one where we have a cost for a donation.
Demolition?
Yeah, what is reclaim donation, $1,000,008?
So the recycling is they have a special program, so they're a demolition contractor essentially, but what they do is there's a donate, the materials, they go in and they assess like what the value of all the existing materials are, so it's more of a deconstruction versus a demolition, so they're basically, usually their process takes a little bit longer, but what the idea is that they can reclaim a lot of the stuff and then they I don't exactly know who it gets donated to, but it goes through a donation process. There's a value that's assigned to that, so that's why you see in parentheses there, it's like the total cost, to bring them on board between the abatement, the demolition, any grading work, whatnot, and then they charge a fee, too, for that, but then you can see what the donation value is according to their calculations, is in excess of the costs. So, but that's not something, you're paying more upfront, and then you recoup that later on.
Yes.
You hope
Potentially.
Potentially.
Yeah, I mean,
That's the key.
right, and it's like a tax benefit, and recycling plans this out, and we're happy to share that information, but it's more of, can we take advantage of these tax benefits to help bring them back to the project, or, back for us to see if it makes financial sense? So, we obviously wanted to research that as an option for
I don't
any
think we've
demolition.
seen that before.
We've
Good
had
question.
So
we've had
this,
deconstruction on projects
Oh, yeah.
where structural steel's been recycled
Very true.
and
Yeah.
And bricks.
I mean, all of them will take whatever materials, and
Well, cash
the thing is,
flow.
most of those buildings there's not a lot of steel in those buildings, there's a lot of masonry, concrete,
Mhm.
that sort of thing, so they'll take whatever they can that has some kind of salvage or recycling value to it that they can go, so their quotes always say, whatever they take down is their property, so to speak, and then they can do what they want. But most of it honestly is gonna probably be ground up, and it'll probably end up going into a lot of the road work you see going on with the DOT. That's usually what happens. They grind up the concrete and the masonry stuff, and it ends up being basically like a fill material for the roadways, so.
So there's potentially no cost for the demolition. It's all said and done.
So that would all be tax benefits, so it's not dollar for dollar, so it's like a deduction on your taxes, so take your effective tax rate on $1.798 million, so, there's maybe, call it 25% of that could be recoverable. And that would again just be whoever owns it is taking advantage of that. We looked at it to see if there's a way we could monetize that, but we're likely, it might not.
You said it takes longer, cause it's obviously
There's deconstruction and
now.
everything.
They'll try to salvage as much as they can and keep it intact, so that it has value to somebody.
But there's a value of it not
No
being
matter what, there's a
landfill,
value.
if you wanna call it, I mean, there's a big picture value of it not
Right.
being a landfill.
Right. Like I said, they'll all take as much as they can that's useful for, reuse and use it that way or utilize it that way. It's, their recycling is a little bit, they take it a step further, so. Like they're even interested in what are the age of these bricks, and they might even try to find, there might be like an architectural salvage company that might want the bricks. I mean, that's a lot of labor to take all that apart and try to keep it intact, and if you've ever knocked a brick wall down or anything, it's not an easy thing to do, so it's labor intensive, it's costly, so I'm not trying to dissuade, it's just, there's a practical reality to all the.
So if you went with the first one and they leave all the masonry materials, would that recycling come and take it and not charge us? And we say, here you go, you wanna recycle some
No,
stuff?
they would, it's pretty much we have to hire them or,
Gotcha.
yeah. Cause like I said, the other companies, what they'll do is they have crushing equipment that'll grind up everything and it'll get reused as a fill material then.
So there's,
It will get recycled either way.
these are the early numbers and you're still negotiating and all those aspects of that, so,
Right.
And this choice will be theirs.
yes.
So who will manage this and select which of these organizations you're going to use?
It'd be F Street.
Yes, yeah.
EJ manages that process.
And you've done this before
Sure.
successfully?
Yeah, good examples we just did in Brown Deer, Wisconsin, on Green Bay and Brown Deer Road. We demolished two about 50,000, 60,000 square foot office buildings to put up 156 apartments. We started that process in October of 2023, and we started the demolition to reset the basis on the property on December 31st. And then started construction on those in August of the following year.
Thank you.
So on tonight's agenda, we've been negotiating with F Street an LOI. And in that LOI, there are certain financial requests of the city you wanna highlight. I have them in the PowerPoint if you wanted to highlight those while you're up here, what the ask is. Or I can just, so they negotiated a purchase price of $860,000 to buy the site from Cardinal. So developers usually, when they, the front that money right now can wait almost a year and a half in order to get the money back. They still have to go through due diligence of getting fire commission approval, getting all the construction bids, et cetera. They've asked the city for a loan of $860,000, I have it enumerated on the slide here. And then it would be at the city's borrowing rate, which would be, I think it's 5.5 or 5.75 today, 5.5, so +1, so 6.5% interest. They will pay 50% of that monthly interest payment each month, and the other 50% will accrue, and then will be satisfied when they get the construction financing. So the term of the note is 12 months. So this also is part of the Cardinal Capital note that's outstanding. It's around $625,000 plus. On tomorrow night's common council agenda, we have a request of the common council for another $250,000 to meet the 650 or 860,000 we need to get to closing on April 15th. Our goal is to hopefully close this next week, before that 15th date, because we do have there is a foreclosure process that is ongoing on the Cardinal Capital site currently with the city. So that loan is to get through the whole due diligence period, get into construction financing. The other ask is a demolition assistance. We have a blighted property that's become a nuisance. There are nuisance orders on the property, and the goal is to get the site ready for development. Now, this could wait. This can wait until construction financing is obtained, and this is incorporated into the overall project. However, getting the site ready for development so it can be expedited and the condition of blight removed, that's the benefit that the CDA can determine tonight, or with this LOI that we agree that we should lend the money. Right now, we have $1 million into this LOI. You can see the interest rates, again, the city's borrowing rate. We would borrow from the state trust fund in this case. Going back to the 860, it would be city's reserves. We already did 6.25 from the city reserve, then it would be another 250. And then that again gets paid back at the time of the construction financing. This would also get paid back off at construction financing. And then we have an early model of the TIF, on the financing. There's still a lot to get through, but we modeled the TIF and the project does have a gap and we're working through those numbers now. We most likely develop a TIF later this year for the project. We still have to determine whether it'll be going back to January 1 of this year or January 1 of 2026 for the creation of that TIF. So that's why it may come later this year for the creation of the TIF. We are negotiating a development agreement. The planning commission process will all be simultaneous, multiple tracks going on at once. The demolition, development agreement, TIF, planning, all those approvals. The goal is to get the planning commission by May and then get construction bids by end of August, and then hopefully maybe late 2025 construction of the townhomes would commence. I think that sums up everything and outlines the LOI. The reason there's an assignment related to this of the offer of F Street negotiated to purchase, because of the city's involvement here, we want to protect the city's interests. And therefore we would do an assignment of the offer to the city and then do a land contract to F Street. And then if certain obligations are not met or benchmarks, milestones not met, we can take the property back and market it for other developer or work with F Street. But I think you're pretty eager to get going, so.
Yeah.
But, the world is changing every day and we've seen other developers say they're gonna get moving as well. We want to protect, we waited 3 years already. So we want to make sure the city's interests are protected and getting the site ready for development, so.
And that's part of the reason to push for the demolition piece of it, the demolition loan, is to get that rolling. Obviously, blight is a large piece of that. There's been calls that we're well aware of. So I think securing that building and moving it forward to develop a parcel is pretty critical to get this moving forward.
We appreciate F Street's partnership in negotiating and willingness to develop, so it's been a good partnership so far.
So 4 is for the letter of intent, the 860, and then 5 is for the 1 million for the demo. I would make a motion to approve both, and I'm just very eager to see this going. It's probably, I get the most calls on it. There's people breaking in all the time. There's fires happening in the dumpsters. One guy was living there, he even had a little oven, little stove. He just moved right in.
That's not you.
I
And
did see it though when I was going through there.
now that it's becoming spring, again, it was a nuisance where we had to demand that the grass be cut and there's just garbage all around it. I try to pick it up when I'm walking as I can, so I would be a motion to approve both.
Going, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, we go
I
ahead.
just want to add the conditions like snow removal, landscaping, all that would be all the responsibility of F Street here through the summer. And making sure that the site is a much better condition going forward.
You
I'll
said-
second that.
So you're doing, the number 4
And 5?
and 5?
Do we want to read them, or we just take it whatever we're.
Unless you wanna discuss anything in closed session.
I do have one question.
Okay.
Go ahead, Marty.
If the vice chair signed a waiver, would he be allowed to drive one of the bulldozers?
Thank you, Marty. I would hope so.
Maybe just, nudge
Maybe a
him
sledgehammer.
or something.
Brings the price down.
Yeah, instead of the groundbreaking.
We have sledgehammer upstairs in the office that we gladly lend
Like a
the
demo hammer or something.
and, go there, at least chisel at the building.
As long as you're wearing like an F-Street helmet,
Yeah,
that's fine.
we'll make sure something, at least for the photo.
Thank
Well,
you.
I'm in.
You can all have a whack at it if you want.
Yeah.
So actually, we're gonna vote on 4 and 5. Let me read the two resolutions and we'll vote on. Okay, 4, resolution to approve a letter of intent between the Community Development Authority of the City of West Dallas and F Street for the property located at 1405 South 92nd Street, 450050200. And 5, resolution approved assignment, a letter of purchase from F Street to West Dallas Community Development Authority for the property located at 1405 South 92nd Street in the same numbers.
Motion to approve.
Motion approved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and second. I just wanted to make sure. You need all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolutions 4 and 5 pass. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Appreciate it. Nice to meet you all.
Take care of the birds in the chimney.
Already taken care of.
I just kidding, yeah. I just kidding.
We captured 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, they
Got a lady out there
and
with
they
a
checked to
sign
make sure any
protesting.
birds were roosting, there were no birds roosting.
We beat the summer.
They're still vacationing in Peru, so they haven't.
Oh.
come back.
Get rid of the chimney right away.
Yeah, Trump closed the border anyways.
All right, have a great evening.
Thank you. Item 6, resolution approve executive director to retain a legal counsel to assist in the redevelopment of real estate services up to $50,000. Patrick, you have the floor.
Mainly with this, we've consulted with the city attorney. Right now, they're short, an attorney, as well as it's highly recommended we seek outside counsel. I'd like to talk a little bit further about this in closed session, what site this relates to, and what the services would be required.
Okay. We'll hold item 6 for closed session. Item 7, discussion on the proposed temporary use of a parking lot at 68th and Mitchell by Southeastern Wisconsin Association of Pickleball. Patrick?
Mr. Chairman, I have Sean present this.
Okay.
So we met with a group. It's the big pickleball group of Southeast Wisconsin. They have hundreds of members, and they're always looking for different locations in the area to entertain their members and tournaments and things like that. So they were asking if they could utilize our CDA-owned area that's south of Oak Brewing's parking lot over there. It's about 1.5 acres. They wouldn't use all of that for pickleball courts, but they'd like to get in like 6 to 8 pickleball courts within that area and just utilize it for this summer, fall. And then ideally there'd be construction out there the next year and they'd be out. So they would, improve the site to a level where they could play pickleball on it. They put in their proposal that they would patch and sweep.
the site.
I know, we were surprised.
We met with them.
We met with them out there at Ope.
Was there snow on the ground?
No. So they think it's pickleball.
Pickleball?
They think they can do it. Obviously, I mean, they gave a very detailed proposal to do this. They put out lights. They'd like to use it in the evenings as well.
Would their people sign a waiver?
So, yeah, we ran this by the city attorney as well. We would have immunity. We would just need to mark any, sign any potential hazards that might be out there just to cover ourselves from an insurance standpoint.
Like what would be a hazard?
I don't know, a crack on the concrete. I don't know exactly what he meant by that.
There's a recreational immunity
I just
statute.
wanna point out, this is not like the overall high priority. but it's a nice
It's
thing
something-
that could bring a lot of people to
And
the
they're not-
neighborhood.
Landscaping, they said they're gonna get the weeds cleaned out and.
Yeah.
Well, and
Somebody's already done
it
it
uses the
anyways.
space that's sitting idle, they're for some parking, and it might bring new people to the neighborhood. And anytime we can bring new people to the neighborhood, that's the added benefit of this.
So does this have to go to plan commission?
No,
I think because it's a temporary use,
So what about, I'm just gonna, how many courts, how many people, where are they parking? I think this is gonna be a little kind of a nice stress test for Oak.
Yeah.
Because this is gonna start teaching them that parking, they've been using that for parking a lot. Maybe not every day, but a lot of days, there's cars in there that are from Oak. And I read the thing that they're gonna rely on Oak's restrooms.
this is a partnership with Oak.
Okay. But I think it'll be good to kind of get everybody used to the idea that, oh, you don't have this parking lot to use all the time. And whether it's a pick and save deal or something else, or their customers just get used to parking on National Avenue or walking a little bit further or something, I think it's a great idea.
we'll get to see how it plays out in a temporary.
Yeah, it's 1 year.
And if people like coming here, maybe this is a use that migrates into some other location.
Excuse me, Mr. Clark has a question.
Is this the same location where Aurora had its fundraiser this past year?
Yes.
Same spot.
Generally
Yeah.
the same area.
I'll move approval.
I got one other question. This is just a word of, that they can use this? And if they're not doing what they said they're gonna do, we can get rid of them?
We'll work all those details out, yes.
60 days. And what are they paying?
It's
Nothing?
nothing, they're gonna clean it up and use it, and we did it, if you want a fee, we can present that to them. The only thing here is, that's a nonprofit group, swap.
Well,
Yeah.
the guy running it's getting paid.
They just have a small nominal membership fee for their group, so it's.
He's not doing the goodness.
Right, but the way, if they're gonna run a tournament and bring people here
Yeah.
and they're buying goods and services in our city, it's a nice thing to use a idle parking lot.
There's no neighbors really.
Well, I'm in favor of letting them use it as long as we got control of it. If they don't start doing what they said, we can oust them. There's no
Is-
problem there.
Is Oak looking to get like an extension of
Yes.
premises to allow them to have beer there?
Yes. I believe so, if not, we can say no to that.
All right.
Do we? That's potentially like hundreds of new patrons at Oak. I mean, if,
Over the course of the time, yeah.
well, I mean, on any given day, I mean, how many courts?
6 to 8.
6 to 8.
There's gotta be, what is it, 8 people on a court at a time?
Mhm.
Right?
2?
Or is it 2 on each
Oh,
side?
it's two on each
four,
side.
four.
It's gonna be totally
four,
one-way
four.
commit,
Yeah,
if it's windy, I don't know if you play pickleball or, I
yeah.
don't know.
But they would like to have tournaments and stuff like that, so it could bring out a good.
Are we worried about the bathrooms, them needing porta potties? No, we're not gonna worry about that.
They're
That's not-
saying they would use Ope's restrooms.
Yeah, the inconvenience open their customers and that's on Oak. I mean,
Yeah.
Well, they're gonna be customers of Oak, essentially.
Yeah, so,
That's
So
what
if it turns out to be a problem, we just oust them.
We terminated it, which is
Mr.
how.
Oust,
Do we know, are the lights wired or are they generators?
I think they're just being portable, ones like you used for parking that time.
Yeah. They go to 10.
And that's their cost. And
Yeah, no, I'm just concerned about the lights.
They've asked to go to 10 PM because I think that's how long they're allowed to go do volleyball. Is that,
mm,
Same as Oak's
he
volleyball.
was trying to just kind of match that.
Wasn't it longer on the weekends? Don't remember.
maybe 11 on Saturday?
But if they just want 10 PM, we're not gonna get that extra hour.
So if it's just, wanted to see if you're receptive to the idea, and then we'll work out the details here.
All right,
So there was a motion and a second, right?
yeah, all in favor, please say aye.
aye,
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Be quiet. Oh, okay.
We got that.
Okay, number 8, discussion regarding 6771 West National. Patrick?
This will be discussed in closed session, a lot of activity.
All right, and then we have number 9, consideration relative to report on redevelopment initiatives. Patrick, or anybody has any questions regarding any of those?
when is construction starting at 116th and Morgan? It's been a while.
Fine, I'm
It's
on
already
that side
demoed.
of town and I gotta get rid of my dump.
We haven't had, further conversation on that, other than, DPW met with, myself, the city engineer, the mayor, and discussed needs for some of that land for future use. Unless they address locations of leaves, other storage areas and things. I think that's still an ongoing assessment of their, use. Is it like that if trees fall over, place to put the trees? And I think they still have to evaluate how to deal with the management of those materials. I think that's one area that when the whole new DPW facility was built, that is still left unsettled.
Can you remind me how we left it with the county, or what our deal with the county was on this? 20 years from now, it's gotta be taxable or something, or per
There is
se?
that,
Okay, is that what it is, 20 years
but
from
there
now?
was some requirement related to that in the current site where DPW is being constructed. But we still have to address connections to water, utilities, the costs, and evaluate that against future development. It's still there, we're still, monitoring that. We just haven't had a follow-up conversation since that last one about leaves, and I still think there needs to be a more broader discussion with Greenfield and other communities. There was an RFP that was conducted by Milwaukee County and the use of the adjacent property being used for, a light impact landfill. At the old Alsheimer's landfill just to the west of our site. And I haven't heard what the end result of that. I think that group would have to get city of Greenfield approval. The Milwaukee County has to cap that land mass to a high cost to the taxpayer. I mean, it's a large cost. They have to, remove all the green and then cap it. Now, you have to bring a lot of dirt to do that. So if somebody can bring in dirt and then cap it and use it for so many years, there's an economic advantage to Milwaukee County to do so. At the end of the result, I don't know how, I think Greenfield does not see that area being developed in their portion. But our goal is development. And if that is used as a landfill, it might be hard to market site for development. While it's being used as a potential low hazard landfill. Now, I think a lot has to be managed for that, if that's all gonna go forward with the relationships with adjacent property owners. So I have not heard, I was on the RFP review committee for Milwaukee County on that, and I'm still interested to know how that gets approved.
Since we're always looking for land that we can tax, and this is an opportunity, and it has been for the last 15 years, how do we move this forward?
I think it's a global city discussion with DPW on what to do with leaves. If that issue gets resolved some way and materials can be consolidated either on old DPW facilities or another site, I think that's how you get development moving forward there.
Yeah, and I
And it
think
has to
we do need
work
to have
out.
that discussion. I mean, when we talked about that DPW, it was also with the intention that that property would go back to being taxable to kind of help
Makio or 116?
116th.
The issue is like leaves and the materials that end up in the leaves and verminants and, if you move those into another neighborhood below, and it's a significant pile,
Right.
so. And trucking,
Which I get, but I mean, that's what the discussion was. I mean, with
Yeah.
the common council
Right.
was,
Yeah,
we're gonna do this
Remember that.
and we're
And we're
gonna
gonna
get
use
rid of
it like deal for,
116th. Does that make you guys feel better about it? And everyone said, yes, it does.
If it's taxable eventually.
Right.
And sooner than, if it's gonna be taxable eventually, we may as well start driving that bus now.
Right.
that might be something to revisit then with Dave.
Yeah, maybe bring it to the Public Works Committee or something.
I'll bring that back up, or, at finance or something.
Or a partnership, whether it's the county, because all of our neighboring municipalities have an issue with this, right? Everybody
Right.
else is dealing with it. New Berlin is, Greenfield is, West Milwaukee, up to a lesser extent. But, I mean, everybody picks up leaves, right? I think New Berlin, do they let their residents burn them?
I think they burn them out there, the
Yeah.
majority of them.
It's mainly the city of Milwaukee.
Milwaukee
the
County,
sewers.
Milwaukee County.
Or you don't pay them off. that creates more of an issue.
Yeah, it's not picking up leaves.
Mr. Kevin, is this something you can move forward?
I'll work on it.
But it's on
Well,
state.
I'm saying with a smile, I think everyone, we understand the seriousness. It's something that everyone is desiring. Yes, let's make it happen. The opportunity here is right with the new public works facility. Then we have the McGeough site that can potentially become our leaf collection place. And that opens up 116.
Yeah, because McKeel may be too dirty to sell, I mean, profitably, right?
Well, if you could have an answer by our next meeting, that
Hey, I already got you the keys to the bulldozer.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's go on to the other items here. For agendas, items 3 to 8, the committee convened in closed session pertinent to the provisions of section 19.85/1/E for state statutes for the purpose of delivering, investing public funds whenever competitive bargaining reasons require a closed session. This committee can convene in open sessions after completion of the closed session to consider the balance of the agenda. Can I have a motion to go into closed
Yes.
session, please?
Second.
Mr. Chairman, before we go into closed session and vote on that, just wanna know, you already approved items 4 and 5.
Right.
I think we need to discuss that in closed session or
No.
anything further there.
So just 6 and 8.
you said number 6.
6 and 8,
Mhm.
right, will be part of the
Can
discussion.
we talk about CPS too?
We
Do we know what's
don't
going
have
on?
that.
92nd? Well, it's 92nd in Greenfield.
Okay. Would you take roll call, please, Sean, for Patrick?
Alderman Weigel,
Aye.
Mike Suter,
Aye.
Alderperson Keen,
Aye.
Wayne Clark,
Yes.
Jerry Motter,
Yes,
motion passes.
we're now in closed session. Patrick, you have the floor. Okay, go ahead.
Motion.
Okay. Motion been approved. All in favor of item number 6, please say yes.
Yes.
Aye, yes.
Whatever.
Or ayes.
And I
Whatever
was,
you
I
ask
was
for.
second.
Okay, opposed? Resolution number 6 passes.
Motion to adjourn?
Yes, please.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Yes,
Meeting is adjourned.
thank you.